Vladimir Putin, he exposed Donald Trump. He says, as long as China, Russia, and Iran exist, it is impossible for him, means Donald Trump, to act like a leader who is in control of the entire world affairs. Tickelson.
I wouldn't really speak about any domineering pose. It doesn't mean that this new multipolar world should have any hegemons, because no one is speaking about this, not in BRICS, not in the SCO. Everyone has equal rights in this multipolar world. And from international law point of view, everyone must have equal rights, must be in the similar position. Yes, there are economic giants like India or China, and actually our country is among top 4 biggest economies if we speak about the purchasing power parity. These are the current realities. That's not something that we would like to have. That's what international organizations calculate, but it doesn't mean that anyone should dominate over the politics or over global security. So we do not believe that there
So basically he's calling out Donald Trump
should be some domination. Everyone must be equal
in public and saying that you're not the leader. You're not the sole leader in the world. We are still here.
Donald Trump rushed away from reporters as he was being asked some basic questions on the White House lawn. Trump rushing away from the White House. He's doing a dinner tonight with the Saudis regarding the Live Golf tournament that's going to be at his Virginia Golf Club over this weekend. More of Donald Trump going to golf courses on the taxpayer dime. But I want to talk about what went down before Donald Trump rushed out of the White House. It seems like he had yet another secret phone call with Putin, where Putin was demanding or asking Donald Trump to make sure that there would be a ceasefire in Moscow between Russia and Ukraine so that Putin can throw his Victory Day parade without worrying that Ukrainian drones would strike inside Moscow. For the past week, Zelensky has been saying that Putin wants this unilateral ceasefire without reciprocating to Ukraine. And Ukraine said earlier in the week that it may be open to a ceasefire if Putin would actually speak with Zelensky about it or speak with the Ukrainians about it and agree to a ceasefire so there would stop being Russian attacks on civilians in Ukraine, which continued to kill civilians this past week. And Zelensky knew that Putin really wanted this parade, this Victory Day parade tomorrow more than anything, so Putin could act all big and strong. So there was a secret phone call apparently between Putin and Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump calling Zelensky, it's being reported or alleged, it's what we're hearing, and potentially Donald Trump begging Zelensky, can you please give Putin this 3-day ceasefire so he can have his parade? And Zelensky actually agreed to do it, but then Zelensky did an epic troll of how pathetic that made Donald Trump and Putin look. I'll show you what Zelensky did in a moment, but how we learned about all of this is that Russian presidential aide Yuri Yushakov announced through the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, this is what they posted. They go, we find Donald Trump's initiative concerning a Russia-Ukraine ceasefire on May 9th to 11th acceptable in order to conduct a 1,000 for 1,000 prisoner of war exchange. Such an initiative on the eve of Victory Day is welcome. And then so it was like, wait.
Of course, this was also already facilitated by Donald Trump and his administration, that Putin will get what he wants, not just the ceasefire, 3-day ceasefire because of the victory parade, but also he will get the POWs from Ukraine. And Putin, to me, looks like, after doing some research, he already sent his list of POWs, prisoner of wars, to Donald Trump, and Trump is mediating between Russia and Ukraine in order to get those POWs, Russian POWs, and also Ukrainian POWs out of the prison and do an exchange. Of course, that looks like to me will help Russia more than Ukraine at this point.
Wait a minute. So did Donald Trump just speak with Putin? What the heck just happened? We knew previously in this week, this is why our reporting here on the Midas Touch Network, where we talk about things that aren't being reported, we get ahead of these stories, the spin and the propaganda. Remember when we previously reported earlier this week when Zelensky posted the following message? The Russians want Ukraine's permission to hold their parade so they can safely take to the square for an hour once a year and then go back to killing our people and waging war. The Russians are already talking about strikes after May 9th, a strange and certainly twisted logic from the Russian leadership. There are also messages from some states close to Russia that their representatives intend to be in Moscow. An odd desire at a time like this. We do not recommend it. Remember my reporting from earlier this morning where I said, I think that's a reference to the United States right there. There were other Zelensky posts like that.
Now, Zelensky, of course, will have to weigh in the, the drone technology that Donald Trump begged him to share. Remember the attack on Iran and Iranian missiles raining down in the Middle East on United States bases? At that point, Donald Trump begged, literally, and they made fun of this. Ukraine, they made fun of this. that we need those drones technology to counter Iranian strikes, and also we need some kind of other equipments in order to encounter those missiles coming from Iran, because we are running out of those interceptor missiles. So you guys please help us out in this situation, because we know that Donald Trump went into this war with Iran without any preparation whatsoever. He is not getting what he needs, Donald Trump. Ukraine is not getting what Ukraine needs, but Russia is getting everything it needs, including the demand from Putin that we will not agree to a leadership of Donald Trump under which all of us are obliged to operate. He said as long as we exist, Iran, China, Russia, and also he talked about big economy like countries like India, Brazil. He said we will not give Donald Trump the power to dictate policies for us.
So then, before Donald Trump rushed out of the White House, he then posts the following message. I am pleased to announce that there will be a 3-day ceasefire, May 9th, 10th, and 11th, in the war between Russia and Ukraine. The celebration in Russia is for Victory Day, but likewise in Ukraine, because they were also a big part and factor of World War II. Pause there. Ukraine's not doing a Victory Day parade like the way Russia does it, so it's already a false stand. This ceasefire will include a suspension of all kinetic activity and also a prison swap of 1,000 prisoners from each country. This request was made directly by me, and I very much appreciate its agreement by Vladimir Putin and Zelensky. Hopefully, it is the beginning of the end of a very long, deadly, and hard-fought war. Talks are continuing on ending this major conflict. So Donald Trump, who got the call, it seems, from Putin, tried to present it as though this was my idea, although we've been reporting what's really been going on behind the scenes now for a number of days.
Now, also, you have to take into consideration what Donald Trump said or tweeted about Iran war. Very similar thing. I have reached to a negotiation. Now we are, going to be having a ceasefire. We're not going to fight. And he always wants to portray that he's in control. But then, the very next moment, you see Iranian denying all of it. Iranian army, the IRGC, making fun of Donald Trump's peace conditions, peace proposal, and those ceasefire agreements. They're just making fun of him. Donald Trump, even though he tries to look as though he's in control, but the reality of it is that he's doing a bidding for Vladimir Putin. Pretty much that's the situation right now he is in. But hey, he wants you to believe that, no, this is not the case. In fact, Vladimir Putin and Zelensky, they're under my control. I tell them what to do, what not to do. It is not the other way around. Absolutely pathetic for Donald Trump. See you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.